Feeling the aftermath of the explosion, Mama Amaretta climbs down into the sewer tunnels in search of JJ and Joe. Bumps, bruises, and broken bones aside, the three investigators reunite and climb their way up into a strange building. Organic crystal growths, runic markings, and the never-ending connections to the Weatherby family abound within the abandoned buildings of the old Clockwork Aqueducts. A building that is infested with the Faceless. After a quick fight, resulting in a standoff, Joe, JJ, and Mama Amaretta break free with Mary, as well as the unconscious body of JJ's lost sister, April August.
The soft sound of quiet, classical music weaves through the air from the receptionist desk. And aside from the occasional footsteps down a hallway or the scribbling of a pen, Mama Amaretta sits in the quiet of the waiting room. It's been a little over an hour since JJ and Joe had been rushed to someplace out of your sight. By the time you reached the clinic, Joe so weak she could barely stand and JJ's foot dragging behind her. Antonio had appeared, taking stock of the situation, promising all would be okay, urging you to sit, rest. They'd be back with news. But the only news you had received so far had been, "We'll let you know when we know." It had been dark in the sewer tunnel, so dark, your fingers working to help them with only the odd green aura to help you see. Rubble all around, skin slick with blood, winces of pain. And then on the way back, you watched how they pushed through, how they delivered a daughter back to her family before they let any of it drag them down. How JJ had to put her foot in Joe's lap in the back seat, something to try to stabilize it. How Joe kept nodding off and JJ had to snap her back to the world. Now that there's a moment, a second to breathe, what is Mama feeling? How is she dealing with possibly the most hurt she's ever seen Joe and JJ in? They've come back with bumps and bruises, cuts and scuffles, but a fairly grave-looking head wound and broken bones haven't necessarily been a normal part of the job.
The most prominent emotion she's feeling right now is just the sheer amount of guilt, because she came out unharmed. And these two people who are far younger than her and have their whole lives ahead of them are the ones that very well could have died in that situation. Thinking about how she's genuinely putting these people at risk, while she understands that that's ultimately their choice, part of her feels like, I think, concerned that she might be pushing JJ and Joe towards a situation they wouldn't have otherwise been involved in and wouldn't have gotten hurt in. And also kind of the feeling of dread knowing she has to call Zion and tell him what happened. There's just, I think, dread, guilt, shame, anxiety because she doesn't know what's going to happen to them. They seemed fine. But just because someone seems fine doesn't mean things are actually that good, and things can randomly get worse. And so I think probably she's sitting there bouncing her leg and staring at the phone that might be in the clinic wall and just thinking about how she has to call the office. But she's unable to move. Other than that repeated thought of, I have to call the office, and knowing she really doesn't want to.
As you sit there, no one else walks through the doors of the clinic. It's a quiet day. You had seen a couple people prior who had walked in and seemed to know exactly where they were headed. The clinic isn't a massive building. It's not even a fully working hospital in any sense, but there's enough space for them to do what they need to do, help as well as they can. Everybody here working by volunteering. And there's a bit of tunnel vision happening where the phone on the wall keeps getting farther and farther away as you stare at it until you almost jump out of your skin as a hand rests upon your shoulder. Amaretta, it's all right.
With her hand clutched to her chest, kind of like, like a startled old Southern woman does, like the
It's your brother. He is dressed in a doctor's coat, has a mask pulled down, hanging off his neck. They're both going to be okay. No worries.
That the official status update.
JJ, as suspected, has a broken foot that has been fitted with a cast. Unfortunately, I don't have the medical tech here to give her any sort of crystal-assisted walking device, so old-fashioned crutches it will have to be. We'll need to keep her under watch for a day or two, but then she'll be free to leave.
And Joe?
Joe has a mild concussion. We've stitched up the damage, and while there may be some bruising, she'll only need to rest for a couple days, and she can go home in a little bit.
I think Antonia will see Amaretta sigh and just the tension in her shoulders relax a little, knowing that they'll at least pull through and there is that certainty now, but she still has to make that phone call. And she just looks to her brother and she just says, "Thanks, Antonio. I appreciate you looking out for them. And for me."
You're free to go back and see them if you'd like. And he kind of walks with you, walks a little bit in front of you, leading you down to the room. You pass a double-doored room that is closed, but there's a window in it, and in it you can see a large room with many beds, all of which have an individual seemingly asleep in them. There are what look to be some family members sitting vigil around the room, but he walks past that one and goes into a smaller room. JJ is laying on a bed, and Joe is sitting in a chair in the same room, but they're both conscious.
I feel like she's gonna have a little box of cookies she got from like a nearby corner shop or something. "Hey y'all, glad to see you're up and about and got you something if you're feeling up for it." And she offers it to Joe and JJ. Well, not quite able to look either of them in the eyes.
I wish I was able to be more up and about, but, they keep telling me, no, you have to lay in bed, no, you have to stay in bed. Okay, well, when I wasn't in bed? Like, 10 minutes ago, you know what's fine? Well, you know what didn't change? My foot. And yet... And she's gonna, throw her arms up in the air and let them, slam back down on the bed exasperatedly.
Joe, winces as JJ goes on. "And yet, they put us in the same room."
Sorry, I forgot again. In my mind, this has been happening since they got put in the room together.
Joe's headache is terrible, but she feels a little bit better every time she pokes JJ. It's not literally. She's staying as far away on the opposite side of the room as possible, but metaphorically. She kind of leans over and picks up one of the cookies out of the box neatly and says, "Thank you. This is perfect."
Well, I'm glad to see the circumstances haven't changed y'all's attitude that much.
If anything, it brought it up. That was probably... And JJ will look at Joe. Up until the end, that was some of the most fun that I've had in recent times.
Fun is one word for it, I suppose.
Joe and I never get to hang out on missions anymore. JJ's just ignoring what Joe said. Where is April?
You know that she was taken to a different room to be, cared for, making sure everything is okay. Antonio hasn't said anything, given you any update about her yet.
I feel like Amaretta would have also warned him that that particular patient might be hostile when they wake up, so that the medical staff isn't suddenly shocked by that.
JJ's, bravado smile cracks just a little. Have you heard anything about anyone else in the building?
No, I was mostly just admittedly concerned about how y'all were doing. Uh, I'm real sorry for putting y'all in a situation like that.
You didn't put us in that situation. I distinctly remember insisting that I go down there myself.
Yeah, Joe put us in that situation.
Yeah, it was definitely me.
I think with that, Amaretta kind of chuckles. The guilt that she feels almost absolves itself with the laughter. And she just shakes her head and she just goes, please don't try and do something like that again. Y'all nearly gave me a heart attack, and where would we be if my heart gave out?
Without a job.
That's true. Unemployed, for sure.
And this economy?
Terrible.
I don't know anything about the economy. I'd be screwed.
I do think that while I can't promise you not to do anything dangerous ever again, that next time perhaps we take you with us. And Joe grins.
I mean, if I went with y'all, I might have ended up in a similar situation, so.
That's true. So perhaps we did the exact right thing. What do you think, JJ?
Who else would have been our knight in shining armor?
Exactly.
I mean, I can think of somebody in particular for you, JJ.
You know, I wasn't thinking of anyone when I said that. That was not a segue. I would never have a segue. I'm a person. I would never... Is Zion here?
I was gonna call him to let him know, and I'll go do that now. Amaretta slowly backs out of the room before it's a really quick back out of the room.
I think you hear JJ shout, like, what do you mean he doesn't know? I'm gonna be in so much... Oh, Joe, sorry, Joe.
God, you are so loud. Are you always this loud?
You know me best. I'm usually louder.
The phone picks up on the other end of the line, and you hear, "Hello, Lamplight Investigative Services."
Hey, baby.
"Oh, hey, Mama, you guys all finished?"
Yeah, we, had to take a little, stop by the clinic afterwards.
"Is everyone alright?"
I mean, they are now. Given the circumstances, you might want to come down and check it out yourself.
There's silence for a minute.
Everyone's fine. They're awake. They're just a broken foot and a concussion.
"Alright. I'll be there in a few minutes.
Okay.
Bye, Mama.
Love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye." Phone hangs up.
I think would remind Amaretta of Dimitri when he's pissed off and she just goes, fuck.
Zion eventually arrives at the clinic, and the door pushes open. Zion strides in, and he looks at you, and he says, "Alright, so which one of them has a broken foot and which one of them has a concussion?"
JJ's got the broken foot and Joe's got the concussion.
And he comes over and he kisses you in the temple and says, "Well, I'm glad you're not hurt."
She'll just pull her son in for a hug. A very tight squeeze of a hug. She nearly cries, but doesn't cry because she doesn't want her son to see her cry.
"Well, I think I have somebody to see."
Yeah, I'll show you where their room's at. They might be there for a few days.
"Alright. How'd it go, by the way?"
Well, we managed to find her and drop her off,
"Oh,
and
you did? Wonderful."
And JJ found someone else, so we took them with us. They're in a different room that we're covering.
"Alright, it's like only been a few hours. You guys really got some stuff done."
Yeah, I mean, especially with these kinds of cases, you kind of have to. When it comes to kidnapping, anything longer than a week is usually really bad news.
"I get it."
And then Amaretta's gonna go because we're getting uncomfortably close to a topic that is personal to both of us.
You push open the door back into JJ and Joe's room, and Zion walks in. "Well, you guys look pretty messed up."
Thanks. It's good to see you too.
JJ's pretending to be dead. Sticking her tongue out, hands in front of her, possum style.
I guess I should be glad that she doesn't actually know what a full-on dead person looks like.
It's actually quite odd because we've definitely seen dead people.
Well, I didn't want you to think that I was actually dead and, like, freak you. I mean, she sticks her tongue back out. But don't say that I don't know what it looks like, because I do. Blech.
So, what exactly did you guys get yourselves into that resulted in this mess?
A sewer and then a pile of rubble.
Oh, that's what the smell is. I see.
Yeah, it was quite dank down there. But we found her. We were on the right path. I kind of can't believe it.
I'm glad you guys did the job.
JJ will open one eye and, like, look over at Zion and just be like, I can't believe that you're saying that I smell and you haven't even been close enough to really tell.
Alright. I'm going to go
Go where?
anywhere else. I can't think of an excuse right now because my head is killing me, almost literally. So, just do whatever you need to do. I will be back later. And then she kind of does tries to do like a little twirl as she leaves and like stumbles and then grabs the edge of the doorframe and says, later. And then leaves.
We'll just get you a change of clothes, Joe. How about that?
Perfect, please.
As they leave, Zion comes over and puts his hand on the top of your head and kind of like rubs your hair. So how bad does it hurt?
It doesn't really. Honestly, I think that they're all overreacting. Did you know they can't make a cast with a platform bottom?
I can't say I did know that.
Well, now you do.
So that just means you're going to be a couple inches shorter than usual.
Oh no, it means that I'm gonna glue foam to the bottom of my cast. What? Do you think I own non-platform shoes? We've known each other for... And that actually gives JJ pause. Oh god, I don't think I've thought about it before.
Like, more than 10 years? Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's a long time.
Did anyone call the office?
Speaking of, I mean, this conversation can wait, if you want it to.
I really tried to be careful. I know that you get mad when I, like, get hurt and stuff, but it wasn't on purpose, and I'm really trying, Zion. We don't have
JJ,
to...
I'm not mad. I don't get mad when you get hurt. I get worried and scared.
Well, you just get... I don't know, you just get so... I thought you were mad. You're not... This isn't like a we need to talk?
I mean, it's a we need to talk, but not about you getting hurt.
Well, do we need to talk about us being together? Like, is it...
No, JJ, we need to talk about the phone call I got today.
And that phone call doesn't make you want to break up with me?
No, actually, I think you might be mad at me.
Why? JJ's gonna scooch over in the hospital bed and, like, pull him down to sit.
Okay, sits down on the side of the bed.
You're too tall, it's distracting.
Do you want me to tell you what happened or not?
Not really, but I think that you should, so...
I would never in a million years have expected this phone call. And let me tell you something. She hasn't really changed that much.
May?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
She was looking for you.
I know.
I didn't tell you this because I didn't want you to be mad or worried or anything earlier, but she tried to reach out to me like a while back and I wouldn't give her your information, but I might have told her this time. She just got kind of mean and I didn't know how to say no.
May reached out to you and you didn't tell me?
Yeah, she wanted to get in touch with you, but I told her that if she wanted to get in touch with you, she'd have to just get in touch with you and I wasn't going to play owl or pigeon or whatnot. And
wait, but you didn't tell me, at least?
No, I didn't. I know how you feel about them and I didn't want... If she wasn't actually going to go through with it, I didn't want you to get more hurt.
Zion, that's my choice. I hadn't heard from either... I appreciate that you didn't give out my information to people. You can't just not tell me. Wait, what do you mean she reached out? Are you okay? When she got mean, what did she do?
Oh, no, she's just a little scary.
Oh, that's what you meant by... Yeah, she's the same as always.
Yeah.
Okay, while we're telling secrets, there might have been someone following me, and then I threatened them with my shoe, and then they told me that they were a secret investigator, and then I gave the secret investigator the office phone number, And then May called the office and talked to Mama, and then Mama talked to me and was like, someone called for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, someone called for me? Who was it? And then it wasn't you, so I was like, I don't know anybody. And then your mom was like, oh, I think it was blah, blah, blah. And I was like, meh. And then we went on a mission, and then I got caught under some rocks.
I'm not entirely certain what the secret of that was after the somebody was following you bit, like way at the beginning of that.
I think that was the only secret part.
Okay.
But to be honest, today has felt like 4 days, so I'm not entirely sure if there's something I'm missing.
Yeah, well, I didn't know exactly where you were, so I told her she could call back or she could come because you sometimes stay there.
Is she at the office?
No, she wasn't there when I left. But she could be at some point.
We can burn down the office. We have a decent insurance policy. I was actually...
Well, I think that I messed up, and I apologize. But I think burning down a building might be a little bit too far of a response to that.
Oh, you're fine. I understand. It's whatever.
Are you okay about it, though? Do you want to talk to her now?
I mean, do you ever stop wanting to talk to your family? Not stop talking to them. People stop talking to their family all the time.
He kind of just, stares at the floor.
I know you get this. It's nature. Sometimes you're hurt, and no matter what's happened, you think to yourself, I want my mommy. Sometimes life sucks and you don't get to see her. But while I still can, I mean, my sisters were in the same boat as me. I'd like to at least hear them out before it's too late.
I think that's good of you, if it's what you want. He leans down and kisses you on the forehead. I feel like maybe you should get some rest.
I agree, and JJ is going to scoot over a little more and pull him down.
Okay.
So much more comfortable.
If anybody were to come back and look into this room, Zion's body is halfway off the bed. He does not fit at all.
And JJ is just half curled on top of him. One of his, I would say, impressively large pecs being used as a pillow.
I think Joe is eating all the cookies that Mama brought, just kind of trying vaguely to go home and not be here anymore.
Antonio kind of runs into you guys and gives you a clean bill of health as long as you go home and rest for a couple days. You don't have to stay in the hospital or in the clinic as JJ does.
With her mouth full of cookies, she goes, "Really? Really?
Of course, you've got a mild concussion, but you're going to be okay. You just need some rest."
And I'll make up all the blood. It will come back.
If you're wondering about a transfusion, you don't need one.
Oh, perfect. I would love to leave, actually. Can I do that now?
Yes, free to go.
Are you gonna promise me that you're gonna rest these next couple of days? Because I know you, Joe. I know you. You need to rest properly, okay?
We can't actually keep people here.
I'm not saying to keep her at the hospital. I'm just saying she needs to rest when she's at home. Because I know how you are, Joe.
Joe kind of gives this expression me? Who, me? But in doing so, she kind of strikes a pose and gets a little dizzy and then straightens back up. No, absolutely. I know I need rest. I think I could rest much more comfortably in my own home. You know, my apartment is very comfortable and clean and has lots of groceries.
I'll make sure to get some groceries for you in the next coming days.
That's not necessary, thank you. But I will actually, if you have any more of these cookies, I would take a box home.
Well, I can bring you some more tomorrow.
All right, I'll take it.
Along with other groceries that you will not be able to refuse.
Joe heads off for the night. Eventually, Mama and Zion do as well. JJ gets to sleep a night in the clinic. A day passes. It's boring. There's not anything to do. You get visitors, but nothing crazy. Second day, you know that you're going to be able to leave. You've been told the night before. They just want to run a few more tests on you, before they actually let you leave. A full write-up of how long it's going to take to recover and whatnot. When the door opens to your room, and there's a soft gasp. JJ? A voice you've been waiting to hear from May.
That's my name, don't wear it out.
JJ. And a long pause, and you can hear the catch in her breath, the telltale sign that she's trying not to cry, which she has never been very good at hiding. She closes the door behind her and stands near it, kind of shuffling her feet. Please don't be mad at him. I was a bit of a bully.
Hi, May. I missed you too.
She hesitates and then kind of falls into a walk towards you and towards the bed. But she stops at the end of it.
I think JJ is sitting up and is visibly, tense. But smiling. The emotion behind the smile is probably not happiness, but she's trying to hide that.
She looks at your foot. How does that feel?
Well, it feels significantly less like a foot than I'm told it should. It feels more like a battering ram, or a club, or a pylon, or, well, how many things do you want me to list before you tell me why you're here?
Oh, getting right to it then.
Oh, sorry. How have you been?
No.
We haven't seen each other in 3 years.
I'm so sorry.
Whoa. Why? No. This is not how this goes. You come in, you yell at me, I yell back. I make a very good point because I'm very good at having the last word. You take the last word anyway, you storm out. I make you cookies or something and we pretend like we never fought. Who are you? What have you done with my sister? Wait. And at this, JJ, drops all niceties. Say something that only May would know.
I don't know,
What happened to your 3rd grade teacher's toupee?
Well, JJ, I wouldn't know, would I?
Very well. Continue.
I'm just trying to apologize to you. So let me do that, and then you can yell at me if you want.
May. Always making demands. All right. Shower me with your apology if you must.
I am so sorry that I didn't come after you, that I didn't leave with you. I didn't know what to do. At that time, April disappeared, and then you left, and I felt so alone, but that house was the only thing I'd ever known, and I was scared. But I should have supported you, and I should have followed you, and it should not have taken me this long.
I think JJ's face had fallen, their lips a creased line. Okay.
And you don't have to say anything else than that, but JJ,
May.
I don't think April's dead.
JJ's mouth turns as if she had just eaten a lemon with the force she is trying to hold back, and she lets it go and starts cackling. Oh, I am so excited to see the look on your face in a moment.
What are you talking about?
May, there's a lot I could say.
Have you seen her too?
I have her in the other room.
She grabs onto the edge of the bed, white-knuckled. What do you mean you have her in the other room?
Well, I was going through oh my god. So, there was this person following me. I threatened them with a shoe. Oh my gosh, I'm from May. Okay, hi, here's my number. You call, and then it's Mama. Mama's like, I don't know what you're calling about. I get back to the office. I have a boyfriend now. His name is Zion. He's amazing.
I know.
You know him.
Yeah.
We went to school together, but we're dating, and that was a big thing. I want to tell my sister about my big thing, okay? Sue me. So anyway, I get back with my boyfriend. His name is Zion. You know him. To the office. And I go to the front desk, and Mama's like, someone called for you. And I was like, no one called for me. And she was like, someone called for you. And I was like, oh my God, I think it is my sister. Yeah.
Okay.
And so then I was like, well, I have to go anyway. So Zion, you're going to stay here and answer the phone.
Hey, can you tell this story in less than 20 minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I could have told it to you over the 3 years that we weren't talking.
I'll just let you have that one.
Mama's like, someone called you. And I'm like, oh, bah, 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 bah. Then we all end up going to this place because this kid got kidnapped. It was one of April's friends. You probably know her. I definitely know her name somewhere, but it's been a long day. And that's the only reason I don't remember it. So we go and we're at this family's house and it's all really sad. And actually, a while before, I had seen April and she had kind of like threatened to kill me and then she killed a man in front of me. So then we're like looking for this kid, but we're like in their home and then I get really sad. So I go out to like just look for the kid and then Joe finds me and is like, don't be sad. And I'm like, okay. So I stopped being sad for a little while because we have to focus on something. And then we climb down this sewer grate because we kept finding this like crystal stuff, or maybe yeah, I think we found the crystal stuff next to the like drain cap. And so Joe's like, I'm gonna go down by myself. And I'm like, no, you're not. And Joe's like, I'm gonna go down by myself. Mama's like, I'm gonna go down. And we're both like, no, you're not. So then I climb down with Joe and I take Mama's lantern.
Who's
And so
Joe?
She's really pretty. You'll meet her later. So anyway, we're climbing down. Do you want it to take less than 20 minutes? Because then you gotta stop interrupting.
Please.
We climb down the sewer drain. We're walking for a while and we keep going straight and I keep throwing rocks and Joe's like, why are you throwing rocks? I'm like, what if there's an alligator? And then Joe's like, there's not gonna be an alligator. And then there wasn't an alligator, but there was something worse, which was a bomb. So then the bomb goes off. We get caught in the shrapnel. And well, not the shrapnel, the like rubble. And then Joe like pulls me out of it. It was all very heroic. I'm sure Joe will tell it and be like, ah, blah, blah. But she has a concussion. I broke my foot. We're hobbling along through the sewers, like two friends hobbling in the sewers. Then we come across this room. This room is, we find two people. They're running away. Then we come across this room. This room is empty. There's like no one there. There's like two beds and there's nothing in there either. Then as we're walking, we keep seeing these runes. And these are runes that we've seen everywhere. We saw them when we had like a traumatic moment at this like ball where my outfit was really cool. And then I had to pry down a door. So my outfit got covered in blood. And then like there were some people covered in the runes. I think they're down in the hall.
Can you jump to the moment in which you found April?
It was after we had we started following the runes, and then we saw these two people, and one of them was carrying an unconscious person, and we were like,
no,
hey,
is the answer to that question. Okay.
Guess what one of the two people were? Literally guess. You're the smart one.
Oh, so like now we're at the point where you found April.
Yes. How'd you guess? It's almost like this entire story was building up to this point. I'm glad your buttons are still in the same spot, May. I missed pushing them. But we found April. April's like, I have an evil plan. I'm in a cult now. And we were like, okay. And I with my taser, and then she became unconscious. And we found the little girl that was missing. Well, she's not a little girl anymore. Sorry, I think of her as a little girl because, like, she was little when we knew her, but now she's, like, an adult. The same way that April is, who's alive and, like, down the hall. They won't let me, and every time I try to sneak out, the beeper goes off because when you take off the thing, it goes off. And so I try to sneak out, and they're like, we heard a massive alarm. You're very bad at sneaking. And I'm like, that's what Joe always says. But Zion came in, and that was really nice.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I know this is a lot to take in, but I had to take it in a very short period of time, so I need you to, like, get with the program and help me sneak in and find April.
Can we go see her?
Yeah. Why do you think I told you this story?
Because I asked, unfortunately.
Tomato, potato.
Do you need help?
Do you know how to get the machine to turn off?
I mean, we can just unplug it, but that could also, I don't know. 1 second. She goes over, she looks, and she presses an off button, and no alarms go off.
Perfect. Hand me those crutches.
Does so. Do you know where down the hall she is?
It's not that big of a place, and I don't know if you've seen a mirror before, but we're pretty different looking. Well, look in the windows and find the person that's blue.
Oh, I thought you meant like you and I are different looking than her, and
No.
Okay, I guess, yeah, sure. And you go along, and you hear footsteps, and you both kind of like duck up against a wall, and make your way down. You have to pass I guess you don't see her in any of the rooms up to the receptionist desk.
I'm leaving today anyway. What's the chances someone will stop me if can I hop on one foot?
Sure.
Like, can I put my crutches down and, like, hop on one foot, but try to make it look inconspicuous?
As you are starting to hop by, the receptionist nurse looks up at you. Sweetheart, we put crutches in your room for a reason.
Yes. Can't get one over on you. JJ will hop back and grab the crutches and then try to walk past the front desk.
It's good to see you up and about.
Joe told me they said that I could. God damn it.
I do think the doctor would like to see you before you leave.
He knows my mom.
You get in the hallway and Meg kind of just like in the background like puts her arms up like, what am I supposed to do?
Walk.
Huh? Honey, what are you talking about?
Oh, I'm walking.
You both hit right in front of the receptionist desk and she just looks back and forth between you guys. Do you need help?
I don't. May?
No, I'm fine.
She's visiting. She's the reason that I got up and about, actually. She's taking me for a walk.
That's so nice. Don't overexert yourself.
And JJ will give the shit eating yesterday. She's known for. Being nice.
May resists the urge to shove you. You walk down more of this hallway on the other end. There's like a brief turn, and by a brief turn I mean a full turn, but the hallway is short, and there's just one door. And through it, you see, conscious, awake, on the other side of the door, your little sister.
Told you.
May's kind of stunned, speechless.
We can go in.
Yeah. You first.
I can't open the door. And JJ will balance on one foot and, like, hold up the cushion.
Fine. She pulls the door open and holds it open for you and says, you can go first.
JJ will roll her eyes and hop in.
As soon as the door opens and you walk in, you watch April's head turn towards you. And her eyes are bright and green, and her mouth just drops open upon the sight of her two sisters. And she says, JJ? May? And then immediately starts sobbing, puts her hands over her eyes.
JJ's, like, prepared this, like, face. She walks in, she's smiling ear to ear, she has a witty retort, and at anyone, honestly, but especially her sister crying, her face just falls. She hasn't had to deal with one of them, let alone both of them, in so long. The banter came easy, the emotions do not. And I think she just kind of stands back and watches for a moment, almost in horror.
Through the sobs and trying to, like, wipe her face of tears, she says, what's going on? Where am I?
What do you mean? What do you mean, where are you? You're in the clinic? You tried to kill me? You tried to kidnap your friend? You did kill a man? What the fuck do you mean, where are you? Where were you? That's my fucking question.
A big sniffle, and she, like, wipes snot, like, halfway up her face. What are you talking about? Why would I try to kill you?
And I think JJ just kind of, like, looks at the floor, eyes growing wider and wider as she tries to keep some semblance of composure as she goes through the memories that she knows she has. She knows this happened. She has to, right? And she'll look at May, the oldest, the one that they only listened to when it was really the deepest of shit that they had gotten into.
And May is watching April very closely, and her eyes drift over to you, and she says, JJ, can I talk to you outside for a minute?
We're gonna
leave. Just a minute. We'll be right back.
JJ will, mouth still hanging open, walk into the hallway.
So listen to me, and then we'll figure out what to do.
JJ nods.
I came to you not thinking that April was dead, because I saw her. At first, I thought I was dreaming, a waking dream, because there was a storm. And you remember how they always make my dreams worse? Well, I thought my dream had turned into a nightmare. So there was a shadow outside my window, creepy-ass mask. And then, in a flash of lightning, the mask was gone, and I was looking right into her face, her eyes. Except, it felt like she didn't see me, like she was looking through me, like she wasn't her. And then another flash of lightning, and she took off into the dark. And I tried to run after her, but by the time I made it outside, there was no sign of her. The rain is how I knew it wasn't a dream, because I was soaked. But whoever that was, and whoever that is in there, that's not the same person. That, in there, those eyes, those look like our sister.
This isn't fair. This isn't fair. This isn't fair.
We got her back. What do you mean it's not fair?
This isn't fair. I have a new life now. I have a new family.
Then why did you even ask for me to contact you?
Because I honestly thought I was going to get more than, I don't know. And JJ thinks back on her conversation with Zion. It was instinct. Because you know what? Your apology was stupid, and I forgave you because I was never even... There's not a choice, you know? In a minute, I'm gonna wipe any tears that I accidentally let out here, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna comfort our sister, I'm gonna forget about the fact that she was going to kill me, I'm gonna play nice with you like you didn't side with our parents, like your apology actually meant something to me. Because words are awfully hollow when there are years of actions counteracting everything the person said. And I'm going to stitch our family back together. And when you're both better, you're going to walk away like none of this happened. Because that is what has happened every single time we are in shit together. I dig us out. You tell our parents that it wasn't that big of a deal. And April...
Well, she was gone for most of it, wasn't she?
At least one of us was looking. I'm sorry, were you too busy at the funeral I wasn't invited to? Did you at least bring me a goodie bag?
I didn't go.
Big of you. Whatever you're feeling, push it down. There's more important shit happening right now. And JJ's going to quite literally crack her neck, take a deep breath, turn to the door, and go, I can't open the door.
May leans over and pushes it open again.
When JJ looks up at May, there's something like remorse in her eyes, but enough cowardice to push it down with everything else she was feeling, and she'll stumble back inside.
April's eyes are wide. She stopped, violently crying. JJ, I would never try to kill you.
I know, I think it must have been... There's a lot going on with the place that I'm working at in regards to a group that is specifically targeting people and using things to mess with memories. I'm concerned that they might have done something to mess with one of ours. I have some people I would like you to meet and talk to when you're feeling up for it. But first, what's the last thing you remember before you woke up here?
It was nighttime and I was cold. And I don't think I had any shoes on. Because my feet were cold, and there were puddles.
And JJ will shoot a glance at May, remembering what she said about April being by her window in the rain.
JJ, is there a mirror somewhere?
I'm sure yeah, of course. Why? Can I find her a mirror or reflective object?
May actually pulls one out of her bag and hands it over to April, and April looks at it and, gasps. How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Not as old as I thought you were.
I'm 23.
I see. So, 2 years.
You're 20. Happy birthday. It's not actually your birthday. I'm sorry, that was a shitty joke to make about someone.
I'm missing 2 years.
May, stay with April. I have someone to call.
Lamplight Investigative Services.
Mama?
Hey, JJ. Everything alright?
April is awake.
Okay.
May is here.
Oh, that's an unexpected family reunion.
Yes.
Do you want me to come over there?
And you just hear a little crack. Yeah.
I'll be there in about 5 minutes, okay?
Can you bring Joe?
I'll try, baby, okay? And I'll bring some treats for you as well.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll see you in a little bit, alright, JJ?
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. And JJ will hang up and take a seat in the waiting room.
Pardon the interruption, but here's another show we think you'd like. queeRPG presents. Fuck. A Wildmoor High.
Adam.
And the Time We Have collaboration.
Get out of here, Caleb. Go away. You shouldn't be here.
This game is about brothers. I'm the survivor.
This is a game about brothers. I am the infected. This collaboration is an official selection for the 2025 Rainbow Roll Fest, taking place on June 27th through the 29th. In your time that you aren't spending at the hospital checking on JJ, you're in your office writing up what JJ usually does is the end of case notes. And in the process of doing this, the phone rings.
Hello, I'm calling to speak to Amaretta of Lamplight Investigative Services.
Well, this is she.
Yes, so this is Professor Marlowe.
Hey, Professor, how you been?
Well, I've been busy.
I'm sure.
First off, I want to apologize in the delay about sharing my finding with you from the sample that you sent to my lab. But there is a very good reason for such a delay. After many tests, we found that the crystals have been treated or combined in some way with an unknown compound that seems to be organic in nature. We've worked to separate it from the crystals, and while we have succeeded in that task, the success has not brought many results. It becomes inert. The compound ceases to be organic once we split it, as if the structure of the substance is inherently bound to the crystal. It's oddly reminiscent of a parasitic relationship.
So, are you saying these crystals are almost like infected with some kind of disease, essentially?
Disease is probably too strong of a word in this case. We haven't been able to parse what these separate components do on their own, unfortunately, since they become inert once separated, but together, the drug seems to have effects on neurological systems. With what we saw at the ArcLight that evening, I have made the assumption that it affects the temporal lobe, though I do not have enough evidence to back up that hypothesis yet.
There might be a few people who've possibly ingested some of this weird crystal substance down at the clinic, and they might be good to look at and see if they're temporal.
Indeed.
Yeah, their temporal lobe is affected. Would you have to be poking someone's brain actually to figure that out?
Well, I'm not. The research in that area is still early in development. I'm not someone who really focuses my research in that area. I'm not a surgeon or a doctor of any kind.
Right. If you were working with a doctor, do you think that could help enlighten things?
If they were a doctor of the mind, possibly.
Well, I mean, I don't know what his specialty is, but I know he's a doctor. There's a lot of patients who've been affected by something, I guess, similar. And we got a lot of notes that you might want to take a look at yourselves. Or is Arthur still working with you, or is this a...
This is mostly my own work in my lab. Arthur has not been a part of this research.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know.
That is the conclusions of my findings in this area. I'm uncertain whether or not I could find the funding to continue if we found a good enough. I don't think my hypothesis is strong enough for the university to back me.
May I ask what your hypothesis is?
Well, it is that the organic material is specifically targeting the part of the temporal lobe that affects, again, only based off of what I saw that evening, memories.
How severely do you think this could affect someone's memories?
I would have to unfortunately say that is inconclusive at the moment. I have not actually been able to test this on human subjects. It would be unwise, since we don't know anything about it.
What if there was already a bunch of human subjects?
I would have to be working with somebody more medically forward. That's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, and I don't, again, know if I would be able to find funding for it.
There's a clinic down in Cypher with a lot of folks who've ingested something with the similar substances to this, and the doctor there is also my brother. So you got your subjects and you got a medical expert right there.
My focus has always been in pure crystal work. I'm not certain that I am best suited to be the researcher in this particular case.
I suppose that's understandable. Is there a person you'd suggest as a researcher for this?
If you wouldn't mind giving me a day to speak with some of my colleagues, I might be able to have an answer for you.
Yeah, of course.
Wonderful.
I appreciate all the work you've done for us so far, Professor.
It was quite interesting. Odd.
Well, I'm glad you got to learn something out of it, too. I suppose it is odd. Yeah, I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know what to make of all this information other than not good.
I suppose good or not good depends on the side from which you are looking.
Guess I just don't like the idea of something messing with people's minds.
I certainly wouldn't want anyone to be messing with mine.
I think most folks would agree with that. Anyways, you take care of yourself now, Professor, unless you got something else I need to know.
I do not believe there's anything else in my notes to relay.
It's nice chatting with you. Take care of yourself now.
You as well. Bye.
Take a moment to just kind of rub her eyes and sigh, because she's so glad she can finish up this case, and that she's learning more about the cult shit. But god damn it, there is a mind she wants to explore, and she has not been able to. And it's slowly, very quietly, driving her up the wall. But for now, she'll just sit there and make herself a cup of coffee while looking fully dissociated.
Joe really wanted to escape the atmosphere of the hospital. So many concerned eyes on her. JJ just talking so much, although it was comforting in a way. She half stumbles out into the night air, a very light rain falling, and she breathes a sigh of relief for the moment. She's alive. But then this wave of nausea overtakes her, and as she swallows it back, she considers her options of where to go. Home, as much as she was trying to convince the others in the hospital, is not a comforting place. She usually goes to the circus for comfort, but something about that feels like it might not satisfy her. She feels small, and before she knows it, she's walking in a not so familiar direction. And eventually she ends up, for only the second time, in the lobby of a very fancy building.
The Rosewater. The doorman greets you and gestures you towards the elevator, knowing where you'd like to go, recognizing you from your one visit prior.
Joe presses the elevator button and leans back, tilting her chin up, realizes that there are mirrors on the ceiling of the elevator. And as she ascends, she takes a good look at herself, not looking very presentable. So she tucks in a loose corner of her shirt, moves her necklaces around so that they're all facing the right way, but there's not much she can do about the state of her hair and body.
The elevator stops at the correct floor. You get off. You knock on the room that you know to be your mother's. You can, for a quick moment, hear voices on the other side. And then the door opens and you see Cleora, your mother's assistant, standing there. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Cleora. You look well?
She looks you up and down. An unannounced visit, I see.
Yes, I was, in the neighborhood.
You hear a door close somewhere farther into the apartment.
Is my mother in?
Unfortunately, she is not, but she was going to get in contact with you soon to let you know that she is extending her stay.
Jo leans slightly into the doorway and rests her eyes on the newly closed door inside. She's not in.
She's currently at a business meeting. She has found that there are many opportunities for her in the city that she's never explored before, and she's meeting with a possible manager here in Nova.
Right, yes. Well, perhaps you can tell her that I stopped by.
Of course, I will let her know.
Thank you. Jo turns to go and then kind of turns back.
The door has shut slightly and then reopened as you turn back around.
Sorry, she won't be in any time soon, will she?
And you watch Cleora look over at a clock, and she says, unfortunately, she probably won't be back until closer to 10.
That's all right. Thank you, Cleora. I'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Have a good evening, Jo.
Good evening.
The door shuts before you fully turned around.
Oh, that's what I get, I suppose, for wanting to see my mother for once. Jo takes the stairs back down as fast as she can. As she comes out into the night air, it doesn't feel refreshing as before. It just feels cold. I think Jo flags down a car and, with some money that her mother has given her, just says to Cypher, please.
There's a little bit of disgruntlement from the driver at the length of the drive, the destination, but
Jo just puts another bill down.
And you are taken back into Cypher as you cross the bridge. Where exactly?
You know where the circus is, I suppose.
It's one of the only places I know around here.
Perfect. Let's go.
Takes you to the circus, drops you off, and the bouncer at the door. Hey, Jo, it's been a bit of time. I haven't seen you in a bit.
Yeah, I've been a little busy.
Huh, good on you. Well, welcome back.
Thank you. And Jo kind of like musses her hair to cover a big bruise on her head.
Yeah, there's like a bandage on it because it was just stitched. The circus is pretty busy this evening. The last few times you've been here, there's been a show, so the back room has been more busy, but there isn't a show tonight, and so the front bar part is like pretty packed with like the after work crowd that here usually just flows right into the late night crowd. You recognize a couple of the bartenders just from being around. You recognize a couple of the performers. I think there's probably a bunch of people here that are like your friends from the circus, just the people you see at that one place that you hang out with.
Jo sidles her way through some men that she's a whole head taller than and reaches her arms out and just says, "Oi, hey," and calls over one of the bartenders.
You see them in the midst of wiping down a glass and they look up and they go, "Hey, stranger. Usual?
Make it 2.
Come right up."
Jo scans the room for hot girls, feeling very dejected from not being able to see her mommy.
There is this woman who seems to be kind of with a group of friends, and she's leaning against a wall. She's got her hair pulled back into a braid and is wearing this like fairly short dress. As you kind of are scanning the room, she's one person who like meets your eye and doesn't look away.
Jo sends her a grin and reaches out both hands to the bartender to take the glasses and says, throw it on my tab, yeah?
No worries.
And heads over directly towards that girl.
As you do, she notices, and then her friends notice that she's noticed something, and then all of them notice you coming, and they all like kind of weirdly move out of the way because you're just beelining.
She like kind of leans, sets down the first glass, and then the second. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Joanna Gilmore. You can call me Jo.
Oh, full names. I'm Coda.
Coda, lovely to meet you. And all of your friends.
You're in this party of girls who are like all giggling at the fact that their friend is getting hit on.
Truly lovely to meet you all.
There's like a smattering of, yeah, Coda, we'll be right over there.
So, what are you doing here on such a crazy night?
Just letting go, having fun with my friends.
Letting go.
Or so was the plan.
Oh, I apologize. Did I ruin your plans?
Well, plans can change.
Adaptable. It's a good trait to have. What else? Tell me about yourself.
What do you want to know? I'm a teacher. I live, and she smiles, nearby.
Not in Cypher.
Excuse me?
Are you a Nova girl?
No, I live nearby.
I thought you were trying to evade.
I was trying to hint.
Sorry. My head's a little fuzzy tonight.
What did you do there?
Jo looks down at her drink and then slides it over to her. You wouldn't really believe me if I told you.
Get in a fight.
Something like that? I mean, you should see the other guy.
I'm sure.
We can't because he's dead, so.
Oh.
Joking. I'm...
Of course. You were joking. Yeah. You're just very serious, so.
Yes, I have heard that it's hard to tell when I'm joking. Are you attached?
No. Though, you have to say that you might have to hang around for at least an hour. My friends don't enjoy being ditched this quickly.
Jo leans in and, moves a strand of hair out of her face and grins and says, I would love nothing more than to entertain your friends.
You eventually make your way over with her to her friends, and introductions are had, and drinks are had, and there comes a point where Coda apparently decides there's been enough time and gives you a bit of a signal and begins to say goodbye to her friends who just give her a lot of shit in jest, but you leave together.
I think I go back to her place. When Coda falls asleep, Jo gently, extricates herself and starts to get dressed. And as she picks up a little bag that she had on her, she opens it and looks at the goggles that she picked up in the cave. She puts them on and looks around this woman's apartment, and nothing is really that different. Her vision is slightly obscured, sort of like sunglasses, like really dark sunglasses would be, but nothing's glowing. She can't see through anything. She kind of looks over at the bed and where Coda is covered with a blanket and she can't see anything, and kind of laughs quietly to herself. And she puts the rest of her clothes on and goes over to kind of gently touch her braid. She's feeling a little sentimental. And as Jo's fingers touch the back of her neck.
As you lay your hands on this woman, at first you just see an explosion of colors, like pastels, almost like when chalk hits water and kind of explodes. And then that kind of fades away. And you see flashes of some of the people that you'd seen that evening with her. You see a classroom. You see her throwing her head back in laughter around a table with friends. You know, you had mentioned to her that this was a wild night, but her dreams are pretty peaceful, full of kind of joy and happiness.
Jo pulls her hand back, and the visions stop. She, looks down at her hand and back to Coda, sleeping peacefully, and takes the goggles and moves them to the top of her head and rubs her face. This wave of exhaustion just, hitting her. And an excitement. This is something new. This was something she would have never even thought possible. Invention so beautiful, it felt like magic. And so she gives Coda one last look before she leaves her apartment and heads back home to finally sleep.
The day that JJ calls Mama, you both show up. And JJ is waiting in the waiting room for you guys when you walk through the front door.
Amaretta has a bag full of rock candies and also maybe some of JJ's favorite drinks. And while she didn't really know May or April that well, I would imagine knowing JJ would have mentioned what they liked. And so Amaretta also brought their favorite treats too.
When Jo approaches JJ, she just holds her arms out and says, "I'm here. I heard you were specifically asking for me."
I don't think that JJ and Jo are very physically affectionate, ever. I think before Jo gets the end of that sentence out, JJ, grabs onto her, for dear life, and just, squeezes.
Jo's, taken aback for a second and kind of just, pats the top of her head. But then, after a beat, she kind of, gives her a little squeeze back.
JJ will then let go and almost identical do the same thing to Mama, but hold on a little longer.
Mama will just wrap her arms tightly around JJ and run her fingers through her hair and just whisper quietly, "It's okay, baby. It's okay." And just hold her there for as long as JJ wants.
I think after a minute, she'll, pull back, and her face is, there's nothing. It's not sad, it's not happy, it's just... And you almost, a computer booting up, I think is the best frame of reference. Watch her, after hugging the two of you, piece back together whatever form of JJ she wants to have in this moment. And, her shoulders roll back, she, cracks her neck again, rubs her eyes, and then, "Mama, you didn't have to bring me all... Oh..." And I think she pulls out a specific kind of chocolate bar that she mentioned May had, sent to the house, and that she had to, hide from her parents whenever the shipment came in. JJ had mentioned it, once. And you see a twinkle in her eye that could be a tear, but no, it is not, as she takes another deep breath. April doesn't remember anything from the past 2 years. She didn't know how old I was or how old she was supposed to be. She doesn't remember anything that happened in the tunnel or before the tunnel. May apparently had seen her at some point. They are both in the room at the end of the hallway.
Holy shit.
Amaretta won't say anything, she'll just wordlessly offer a rock candy to JJ, because her mouth is just kind of fallen open, there's nothing you can say to, "Oh, by the way, yeah, my sibling has lost 2 years of their entire memory."
And I think JJ was probably, biting the skin around her nails and finally lets it go in order to take the rock candy and use that as a distraction instead.
Jo kind of, zeroes in for a moment and is like, "What do you need from us?"
We need to talk to April. We need to get more. I can't do it by myself. I need help.
Thank you for asking for her help, JJ.
We'll help you. And if you need to leave the room for a bit, we'll stay. All right?
I think JJ looks up at Jo, who she has maybe thought of as a bit of an older sister figure in her life from time to time. Jo, who has in the past been we need to focus on the mission. And after that sentence just goes, "I believe you. Let's go."
You lead them down the hallway into your sister's room, and you see that May has not moved from pretty much right in front of the door where you left her, and April is just sitting up in bed, and there seems to maybe have been more tears and confusion, and she just seems really tired.
April, May, this is Mama Amaretta and Joe.
May turns around and looks at you and like completely appraises you, and then looks at JJ, and then looks back to April.
Hello. I've heard quite a bit about you.
I'm sure.
Joe doesn't like the way she's looking at her. And then looks at April and like scans her face and definitely confirms that she doesn't look like the same person that they spoke to in the caves, in the tunnels.
April, we've actually been, I guess to start from somewhere, I work at a private investigator's office, Mama's private investigator's office, and we have been on a case that has to do with the memory stuff that I mentioned. I know you don't remember anything, but I mean, we're investigating. I didn't know if they still had, maybe the hospital still had your clothes that you had, or maybe if we talk about it, we could jog something. So I had them come down because you're kind of the best lead we have.
Okay.
Also, if anything gets too overwhelming, you let us know and we can stop right then, okay?
Yeah.
By the way, it's nice to see you again. Amaretta will walk up to April and give April one of her favorite treats, because April and May probably didn't see Amaretta as often as JJ did, but they certainly saw her at least picking Zion and maybe JJ up from school sometimes.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're real confused and scared right now. I mean, I would be after forgetting the whole 2 years of my life.
Well, it doesn't feel like I forgot them. It just feels like they didn't happen.
Do you remember what happened before? Last couple of things, last couple of days?
Nothing weird. I went to school and then didn't want to be there, and went home and didn't want to be there, and usual.
I think JJ nods with understanding.
Is there a place you usually like to go that wasn't school or home?
Yeah, I like to go watch them board at Abigail Skate Park. I just sit. I thought those things were really cool, and I kind of always wanted one, but, well, you know, money.
They certainly ain't cheap. Do you remember going to that park in those last couple of days? Before waking up here, I guess?
I probably did. You know what's really weird? Is that, like, I don't have any memories, so it doesn't feel like I've forgotten 2 years. Remembering the stuff before feels like a long time ago. You know, like, if I don't have any memories, shouldn't I just be able to know exactly what I did yesterday, technically? But it's like, doesn't feel like yesterday anymore.
Well, I don't exactly remember what I ate yesterday. Memories don't exactly work like that. But also, I think I got some friends looking into this, and based on what we know about this group that got a hold of you, they have a strange substance that is mixed with a weird parasitic compound. I don't know. They don't know what it is, really. And it affects your memory, or they called it the temporal lobe. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, I'm not a scientist.
I'm not either.
Basically, whatever it was they were giving you was messing up your memories really bad. And clearly this huge time gap, someone might have given you something, you might have got exposed to something. Do you know anyone or any place that might have been possible?
She kind of looks up at JJ and looks up at May as if she's afraid she's going to get in trouble. And she just says, I mean, I knew some people who did drugs, but just like normal ones.
Okay.
Just like classmates, and like at a party or something, they're just normal stuff.
New or slipped in?
Not that I know. I tried it like one time, and I didn't like it, so I didn't do it again.
Was it kind of, recent in terms of like waking up in this?
I mean, like I went to my friend Cassie's birthday party. What day is it?
Amaretta will inform her of the current date.
Yeah, so like not a few months ago, but a few months ago, you know what I mean?
Joe watches as April's face gets more and more distressed by trying to access these memories. Her hand kind of like floats to her bag, which has the goggles in them again. She walks over and sits on the edge of April's bed, gently, kind of like tucking her legs as close together as possible to make herself seem smaller and less intimidating. And she says, April, I have something that might allow me to help you remember.
Okay. Is it gonna hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt. I don't even think you will see anything. But if you do, and if it's too scary, I am going to give you my hand, and you're going to squeeze it 3 times, all right?
And she very tightly grasps onto your hand.
All right, now, do the signal.
She squeezes.
I need my hand back for just 1 moment. And she reaches into her bag and puts on the crystal goggles.
Without touching her, you notice something immediately. Because while in Coda's room, the room looked exactly the same, there was no difference. You see this like strange, almost like twisting light that is flowing from April. You see it like go through the door and out the window in the door. You see it twist around the hallway. Like just this like effervescent sort of like glowing purplish twisting cord of light.
Joe clocks that, but then looks back to April's expectant face and is like, I will deal with that later or explore that later. And then she sort of like sets her hand down, palm up on the sheets next to April and says, whenever you're ready.
April takes a deep breath and says, okay. And she puts her hand in yours. And you are pulled, like you feel like you're pulled into a dark space. No light, no pictures, no images. And then you see a quick flash of like surface thoughts of you feel yourself like a little scared, a little nervous, a little joyful that your sisters are here. But there's no imagery, it's all emotion. And then there's something in the darkness that starts to form. And it like kind of floats closer and closer. And you see the visage of that white and gold mask that the faceless have worn. Personless, but the mask floating in this dark void. And as it gets closer and closer, it begins to shift and transform and turn ugly and stretch until the mouth of it is open wide like you're ripping somebody's face open, and it begins to melt. And you hear April begin to scream. This series stars Kenzie Tartaglione as the Game Master, Atlas Matthews as JJ August, Danielle Halen as Mama Amaretta, and April Consolo as Joanna Gilmore, with Michelle Kelly performing our episode recaps. You can help us out by listening and sharing, rating and reviewing, or coming over to our Discord. Also, you can join our Patreon to get access to our episode talkbacks and more. Thanks for listening.